Hey guys, Paul here. So today I've got a public service announcement for Yu-Gi-Oh players. Stop giving up duels. I didn't really even expect to make this video, but it's just something that happens so much. I play a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh, both TCG and Master Duel, especially Master Duel. And something that I see happen so often is players just conceding duels, just conceding the moment they see anything kind of go wrong. I've seen people concede just kind of randomly. Like, I guess I assume that they maybe bricked and they didn't like their hand, so they gave up. I see people, concede when one hand trap gets played against them. Oh, your card got Ash Blossomed, your card got hit with Valor or Imperm. People quit because of that. And people quit because they lose maybe one major interaction in the game. Something happens unexpectedly. Or maybe they mess up their combo and so, or, they misclick or whatever, and so they quit there. And I think that people should not do this because it gives away a free win. And oftentimes you can recover from those games, or even if you don't win those games, you can learn a lot in the process by just staying in a duel, seeing a duel through till the end, and not giving up until you are absolutely certain that your opponent actually has you beat. And I think that's really seriously very important. I'm not saying, that it's okay to give up the moment that your opponent like negates your first thing or like interrupts your first card. I'm talking about like make sure that they have the damage on the board and they're in the battle phase, and then that's like when you give up. So to explain all this a little bit further, when I play Master Duel, I do the ranked ladder climb every season. I play through Platinum, Diamond, Master Rank. I've gotten to Master Rank 1 a few seasons now. It's fun. I usually use a variety of decks. I never use the best deck. I've done it with Rescue Ace before they got all their new stuff, back when people thought they sucked. I've done it with Vanquish Soul, I've done it with Dogmatica, and Exo Sisters. And so the thing about like all of those decks that you'll notice is that they're never the best deck in the game. In fact, in many cases, they can be pretty damn difficult. Like when I played with Dogmatica, I was literally playing against like Branded in its Master Duel Prime, and those matchups were acrid, like literally the worst. I mean, literally, I was playing against like I was playing a deck that wanted to send cards from the opponent's extra deck to the graveyard, and it's against Branded, where they literally benefit from that. I lost a lot of games, you can probably tell, but yeah. So I still managed to push through, and it's kind of my general belief and philosophy that most decks in Master Duel can actually reach Master Rank. I think that if you have enough, just like shrewdness, grit, determination, adaptation, whatever you want to call it, you can actually manage to do quite well with a lot of different decks. The best deck in the game is not necessarily the deck that you have to play if you want to get to these high ranks. However, I pick up a lot of free wins by people just giving up. People will give up whenever their base combo gets stopped or whenever they see a matchup that they don't like. I like recently I've been playing a lot of Vanquish Soul, and there are people who will quit my normal summon Vanquish Soul Rosin. I just normal summon it and they quit. They give up. And I'm just like, oh wow, I mean, do you hate Vanquish Soul that much? Or I've had people who will give up whenever I use something like Maxi, right? I get it, card's annoying, but like you're giving up because I played a card. So my thing is, I think that you should always make sure that your opponent has to like win the game. Put the onus on that on them. So another thing that I'll do a lot is when I'm playing these decks that sometimes brick a lot, even when I go first and I don't open a summonable monster, I will still end my turn and let my opponent go. Because you never know, right? You never know if your opponent's got, a bricky hand as well. Like you bricked, sure, but what if they bricked too? Or if you bricked, it means you probably have some hand traps. And maybe your hand traps are enough to at least, slow their turn down some and then give you an extra turn to draw. And maybe that turn that you draw won't actually come of any, like nothing will come of it. It might not be a summonable monster. And then maybe I guess you have to give up. But I just say this because I think that so many people have handed me wins where I've had a bad hand, but I negated one thing they did, right? So like I opened up with nothing but bricks and I impermed the first thing and then they gave up. Or, I summon a monster and like let's say the Vanquish Soul example is you can summon your Vanquish Soul monsters like Rosin and Dr. Madlove, and they get search effects. If your opponent Valors or imperms them, then you can just like bounce them back to the hand for one of your higher level ones and it'll stop that card and they'll still get to search. And it's a great fun time. Oftentimes when I resolve this, people just quit on the spot. They give up because it's like, oh my God, I completely forgot this interaction. It sucks. I wasted my card, and now they give up. But it doesn't mean that I won that turn. It doesn't mean that that one interaction won me the game. It's just that they feel like it. And I think that that kind of speaks to some of the sort of weaker constitution that I see in a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players is this idea that matchups or cards kind of automatically win you the game or win you these things. They'll see one thing go wrong and then they'll quit. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't think that there are any matchups that are like just completely unwinnable, like 100 to 0. I think that there are matchups that are difficult, but I always believe that people should play the matches out. Because even if you like don't end up winning these games, you might just learn more in the process, or you might find a way to squeak out a win that you didn't expect to actually be possible. This has actually been a really fun thing I've done whenever I'm facing like huge negate boards, right? Like sometimes people will make a board of monsters. It's like, oh great, I get to deal with, Colossus and Barone and I don't know, Rolkalos or something. And it's just like three or four negates or, sort of floodgate style things. But I will still at least try to play it out because I'm like, you'll be pleasantly surprised to know some people only know how to like recite a combo and make the board and they don't actually know what to negate. And so sometimes you can bait people out. You can bait that Barone negation. You can bait that Borreload Savage. We're talking about Master Duel. Obviously, these cards are banned in the TCG, but there are similar cards that apply. Bestial Dissipator, maybe. I don't know. So that's the thing, right? I think that even if your opponent kind of has you dead to rights, make them be the person who like has to make those choices. Make them pick what to negate. Try to bait things out. There's so many cards now that can like, be really effective for baiting cards like pot cards, they're great for that, right? Sometimes people feel like they need to negate that. Sometimes you can just get somebody to use something and then you can use like triple tactics talent and then take like their Barone and then use their Barone and like pop a thing. And there's so many ways that you can get around boards. I just think that too many players quit far too easily. And I don't know. I guess I see it as something where it's like if you really, really want to win or just improve at Yu-Gi-Oh, you should see duels through to the end because you just don't know like what neat little interaction or exchange you can find. Another Vanquish Soul example for me is that like when I play Vanquish Soul, I actually have access to burn effects. Burn effects in the form of Vanquish Soul Snow Devil and also Heavy Borger. They can deal burn damage. There have been times where it's like, oh man, I can't swing over these monsters or I can't get over like get past this board, but I've actually ended up winning because of burn damage. There was actually one game I played with Vanquish Soul against a Destiny Hero Plasma sort of hero thing. They set up Plasma, and over the course of 3 or 4 turns, I was actually able to summon out my Vanquish Soul Heavy Borger, activate its effect, and then chain a Caesar Valius, bounce it to the hand, deal 1500 damage, and then next turn, repeat the process. And I did it like 3 different turns to eventually deal burn damage for game because Plasma was negating all my monster's effects. And normally, a lot of people in that situation I know will just quit. Like they see Plasma, it's like, oh, that's a walking skill drain. I can't beat it, and they'll give up. But my, I guess my big PSA or message here is like, you cannot just hand out free games. I know people think like Maxi automatically wins you the game, or Dark Ruler, or Shifter, but you gotta try. Like, trust me, when your opponent uses that shifter on you, they might be praying that that thing resolves and makes you quit because they don't have anything else in their hand. They might have 2 shifters in their hand and they had to use one. They're hoping that's enough because the second shifter is just sitting there in their hand dead. So, like, the main thing is do not just give up these games, especially if you're in Master Duel and you're in like Diamond or Master Rank. Giving up a game, I think, is like a huge loss because it's a lot of lost time. So, you got to try, right? You have to try. You got to make sure your opponent actually finishes you off and like finishes their food because you'd be surprised how many games you can win if you just do that. Okay, anyways, that was the video. It wasn't like anything super serious. Not really a complaint about the game. It's just more like, toughen up, really like, learn your deck, learn everything that you can, try to see every scenario, see it all through to the end. I should add the caveat that I know in the TCG, there are valid reasons to give up a game, like when time is, running low in the round and stuff, and like you need to side deck. That's fine, but like I'm talking about particularly in Master Duel, or when you're just like playtesting with friends and you're really trying to like learn these decks and improve, try to see things through the end. Okay, cool. That's it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Pass turn.